Hello, can you see me and hear me clearly?
Yes, hello. I can see and hear you clearly now, but here is no electricity, and maybe sometimes internet interrupts. So
Yeah, in between maybe sometimes, but for your side, you are saying internet is not there.
yes, from my side, maybe internet interrupting sometimes.
Okay. Don't worry. Whenever you miss something, just unmute yourself and let me know. I will repeat it.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Great. So let's begin our session for today. Keep your back and neck straight. Sit comfortably wherever you are, and very gently close your eyes. Start connecting with your breath. Watch the natural flow of your breathing as you inhale and as you exhale without changing the rhythm of your breath. Just observe the natural and pure breath. Gently shift the attention to your posture. Check the alignment of your body. If you feel the need, you can correct your posture, and by the end, just make sure you are both comfortable and stable. Slowly and gently come back to your breath. And now begin to regulate your breath consciously. Go for the practice of Puraka and Rechaka. Slow, long, and deep inhalations. Slow, long, and deep exhalations. Relax your mind and prepare your mind for chanting Om 3 times, followed by 3 Shantis. Take a deep breath in for Om. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. The vibrations. Join your palms together and begin to rub your palms together. Place your palms on your eye. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at the palms, begin to open up your eyes and come back with a big smile. Let us begin our session for today. So today we are going to talk a little bit more about pranayama, and then we are going to work towards our practice for the day. So I just want to briefly discuss the importance of pranayama, because we are giving all of our classes to either preparing or actually undergoing through the process of pranayama. So why is it so important, right? So we're just going to briefly touch upon the practices and their importance, right? So yogis were, very closely connected to the nature, right? In philosophy classes also, I have talked about this thing that you come more in sync with the environment, right? So yogis, when they went for their, personal practice, they went into isolation, and also they, in this isolation, they were very clearly able to observe certain things around them, right? One of the things that they observed were the animals, right? So when they went into seclusion, they were of course surrounded by animals. Still, they were around animals, right? So they uh, paid more attention to how, the animals were living their life, and what exactly was going on, right? So you will see a lot of your postures are also named after a lot of animals, right? And the way in which they exist, you try to mimic that thing, right? And then when the yogi went deeper, they saw that they observed the breathing as well of the other species, right? And this common understanding was developed, that there is a very strong connection between the way in which we breathe and the quality and quantity of our lives, right? Both the things. Okay. So if you would ever observe a tortoise, the tortoise has a very, very slow breathing pattern, right? They take so much time to inhale and so much time to exhale, right? And tortoise, the tortoise, it lives for a very long period of time, right? The life of a tortoise is longer than our lifespan. And if similarly you observe a dog, right? So dogs, they have a very, very shallow breath, right? And you will also observe this thing that they have a shorter lifespan than the average human being, right? So this happens because, as per the yogic understanding as well, we have limited number of breaths, right? Like your bank account balance, so you have certain amount of money in your account balance, right? Now it's up to you how you spend that money, right? So the yogis observed that the tortoise was very slowly spending that resource that they had, right? And the dog, on the other hand, was spending the resource very, very quickly and easily, right? So they went towards mimicking the tortoise, right? That kind of thing. Any animal, you can take the example of other animals as well, who live for a long period of time, right? So the yogis experimented and they started, seeing what is the impact of increasing the time taken to inhale and exhale, right? And when they performed this experiment, they saw not only the quantity, like I told you, the you know amount of money in your bank, you can spend it in different ways, right? So not only the quantity is increasing, but even the quality is being impacted, right? At this point of time, the yogi also came to another conclusion, right? The state of the mind is closely interlinked to the breathing, right? When you are ever stressed in your life, just observe your breath. You will see your breathing becomes very, very shallow, and as a result it becomes very fast as well, because now you are taking shorter breaths, so you need to take more breaths, right? And then when you are in a very relaxed or comfortable state, you will see that the same breath, it has become longer, right? So the long breath actually signifies a very stable and calm state of mind, right? So you guys can experiment this thing also with your own self. You can observe, right? So when this thing was observed, then the practices also, they were also developed accordingly, right? So generally we breathe about 14 to 15 times in a minute, okay? So we exhaust about 14 to 15 breaths in 1 minute. And if you observe the yogi will take lesser amount of breaths than this. Hence, they are able to increase their span of life. They are able to achieve so many things, right? So pranayam forms a very, very important part, because one, it is having a direct impact on your lifespan, and second, it is having a direct, it's a very good indicator to tell you how your mind is at a particular point of time, right? So pranayam is not separate from all the other practices. It is generally, it comes up after the asana practice, right? So most pranayam practitioners miss out on certain things which are very, very important for pranayam practice, right? So these things, they include, your eating habits, your achievement of posture. So most of the people, when they sit for pranayam, their body keeps on moving, right? Which is not correct. Pranayam is always done with a stable posture, right? So perfection of asana is very important before you step into the practice of pranayam, right? Then your diet. So when the practitioner gets involved in the practices of pranayam, they have to regulate their diet as well, because the diet, the sleep, the amount of exercise that you do every day, all of these things, they have an impact on your prana, right? The vital force in your body, right? So if you are just doing pranayam and then, eating whatever you want to, sleeping however you want to, right? Sleeping during the day, not at night, not maintaining a routine, you will see the impact of pranayam. It will, show up very slowly, or it will not show up altogether, right? So when you enter these practices, you have to take care of these little hidden things as well, right? Now the diet should also, the diet that you take, it should be proper, your routine should be maintained, and your stability in the body should also be adopted before you can work on the practices. You also need to prepare the breath. Like yesterday, we did the practice of natural breathing. So what we are doing, slowly we are beginning to prepare the breath. Today also the practice we will do will work on preparing us for the practices of pranayama. And these foundational practices that are introduced in the beginning of your sessions, they are the most important, right? Pranayama practices only change the way in which you are breathing, right? How you are taking in the breath, how you are doing the exhalation, what is the proper technique. But the control over the breathing, the correct way of breathing, all of these habits are inculcated in the pre practices. Okay. So, right now, most of us do not even breathe correctly, right? Most of the people who are leading their lives, they are breathing in, a, in an incorrect manner, right? So, these pre practices will help you to correct your posture, to gain more control over your breathing, to correct your breathing patterns, so that you become ready for the pranayama practices, because it's only after you gain little bit control that you can regulate it in different ways, your breath, right? So you have to focus on these practices the most. All right. The practice we are going to work on today is called abdominal breathing, and this is also called diaphragmatic breathing. Abdominal or diaphragmatic breathing, this practice you have to do till the end of your classes. Okay. So starting from today, when you learn the technique, till the end of your classes, if you work on this practice and if you master this practice, it's only then that you can move ahead in other practices, right? And the abdominal breathing is the most efficient way to breathe throughout the day. Okay. So as kids, if you ever observe kids, no, a kid who is sleeping, or little children, so they generally, when they breathe, their abdomen moves in and out, right? But if you closely observe adults, it's mostly their chest that is seeing the movement, right? This is a problem. Okay. Why? Because abdominal breathing is the most efficient way to breathe, and it induces states of relaxation, right? So you have to be relaxed during your day. No, you don't have to be stressed all the time. So whenever stress strikes us in our life, we begin with the chest breathe. Okay. But when the stress goes away, we forget to switch back to the abdominal breathing, right? Which has caused so many cases in today's time, related to stress related disorders, tension, all of these things, right? A very simple cure, which is not even a pranayam practice, is the practice of abdominal breathing. Okay. The more you practice it, the more correction you will get in your posture, the more control you would gain over your breathing as well, right? This practice oxygenates the blood properly, right? So again, there are so many people who feel lethargic because the proper inflow of oxygen is not taking place. Abdominal breathing is the way to correct this thing as well, right? Now, why is this breath pattern called abdominal breathing? Okay. It's called this kind of breathing because you can very easily observe the change that is taking place in your abdominal region, right? There is a movement that takes place when you go for this practice. So that movement takes place in the abdomen. But this doesn't mean that you are breathing through the abdomen. Okay, you are still breathing through your chest. But when you take the abdominal breath, what happens is the diaphragm is a dome shaped muscle that is uh, located below your lungs. Okay, so this muscle, as a as an indicator of you filling in the breath properly, this muscle moves down, right? When the muscle moves down, all the organs which are below it, they move out. Okay. So all the abdominal organs, they begin to move out. Means that the abdominal breathing has started. Okay, so it is actually the impact which is showing up on the abdomen. The breathing is still taking place through your chest region, right? Um, Generally during the day, as I told you, we do chest breathing. So this is partial breathing. Okay, our lungs, they are divided in three lobes overall, right? If you look at the right side of the lung, it is divided in three lobes, and left is only divided in two lobes because of the presence of the heart, right? So I will take the example of right lung because we are going to do three types of breaths, and each type of breath will work on oxygenating one portion of the lung, right? So abdominal breathing, it oxygenates the lower lobes of the lungs, right? During our general breathing, we never work towards oxygenating the lower lobes of the lungs, right? So when you begin to do the practice of abdominal breathing, all the blood vessels that are passing through this area of the lungs, they get proper oxygen, right? Now, when the exchange takes place in the lungs, because the oxygen is reaching that region, the exchange is taking place, and then the blood vessel is able to carry oxygen to the parts to which it is connected, right? So it helps in the correct oxygenation, like I said, okay, correct kind of oxygenation of the blood, right? And in fact, the oxygen level increases as you go for more and more abdominal breathing, right? Most of the diseases that are caused in our body are due to a lack of oxygen in some portion or the other, right? So abdominal breathing is a cure for most of the things. And because it can be practiced by everyone, there are no contraindications, there are no restrictions on this. So you can introduce it to any age group as well, right? This practice has no specific posture as well, so you can either do it while sitting or lying down, right? So again, if somebody is having difficulty in sitting up, then even this restriction has been removed. You can lie down and practice abdominal breathing. Initially, when you begin to do abdominal breathing, you might find it a little bit hard because most of your life you even sit with a curve in your back, right? So when you begin to do abdominal breathing, you will have to sit straight because now the abdomen is moving, right? So initially, it might seem as if it's a little bit difficult for you, but as you consistently go for this practice, you will see that it will correct your posture as well, and it is the easiest way to breathe. So this will give the least stress on your respiratory system as well, right? So from today till the end of the classes, take out 5 minutes in your day to consciously practice abdominal breathing. As you progress in your practice, you will see that this has now become the automatic way in which you are breathing, right? And it will actually change the quality of your life. It is such a simple practice, but the way in which you are mentally processing the things, even your digestion, it has a very, very positive impact on the digestion because when the diaphragm moves down, it massages all the organs that are present below the diaphragm. So it leads to this the stimulation and massaging of all the organs present in the abdomen. So it has immense or you can say very, very good impacts, right? So it's very simple practice. All you have to do is to keep a good check on this practice. You can place one hand, either right or left hand, on your abdomen like this. You can place your hand on your abdomen, and when you inhale, you can just see that you are inhaling, the abdomen is moving out, and as you exhale, you can just feel the contraction, right? That the abdomen is going. This is a great way to keep a check, and if you feel, you can follow up with how your abdomen is moving without keeping your hand. You can rest your hand on your knees. There is no specific restriction on doing it like this, only keeping the hand like this. You can relax your hands and just be aware of the way in which the abdominal muscles are moving, right? Any doubts so far?
No, thank you.
Oh, Okay, great. Okay. One or two more things that you have to take care of when you do abdominal breathing. First thing is there should be no stress or strain. So sometimes, when we perform a new practice, we feel the stress or the strain in trying to do that practice, right? So you just have to go with the natural flow of your breathing initially. And once you feel that now you are aware of the movement of the abdomen, that is when you can begin to gain more control over your breath, right? Initially, just observe the natural flow of the breathing and how you can switch the focus to the abdomen, right? And eventually you can work on gaining more control over your own breathing and seeing how abdominal breathing is functioning according to this. Second error that a lot of people make is that they give a lot of time to the inhalation process and very less time to the exhalation process, right? As important as it is to acquire oxygen in your body, it is equally important to expel out the toxins from your body, right? So when the ratio of the exhalation is less, right, in the entire breathing process, it can also be a point of concern, right? So when you go for the practice of abdominal breathing, the second kind of thing you can keep a check on is as you inhale and as you exhale, take at least equal amount of time to perform both the processes. If you can increase the exhalation more, if the exhalation can be longer, it is good. There is no harm, but at least the inhalation and exhalation should be proper, right? Third thing, uh, it's connected to the second point only. When we inhale, we feel the abdomen rise up and out, right? So inhalation, again, we are giving a lot of time, so we feel the full expansion of the abdomen. But when we exhale, we do not exhale properly. So what we do is the abdomen doesn't squeeze as properly as it should, right? So each and every time you exhale, you create space for the next inhalation, right? So your entire process will get impacted if you don't exhale properly, right? So when you exhale, try to squeeze your abdomen in properly so that all of the breath can be expelled out of your system, right? Uh, and last thing, which is really, really important, is to keep this check, right? So each and every time, what will happen? You will do abdominal breathing, and mind will keep running away in all directions, right? So it's very important to also give a focus point to the mind, right? And what is the focus point of the mind? This movement in the abdomen, because it is very it is very easy to trace or keep a track of the movement of the abdomen as you inhale and as you exhale, right? One last point that I will address is, so when we ask students to do abdominal breathing, they get confused because they feel some movement in the chest also taking place. Again, your focus point is the abdomen, right? But you cannot separate all the portions, right? So of course, everything in your body is connected. So you will feel some rise in your chest as well, right? But now, rather than focusing on the main movement being in the chest, you are shifting your focus to the abdomen, right? So if you feel slight movement in the chest, it is okay. You don't have to worry about this thing. Everything is connected. When you do a back bend, your upper back also, uh, like moves a little bit in order to support the lower back bending, right? In that same way, when you breathe, when your focus is on diaphragmatic breathing, then maximum movement will be seen in the abdomen. But because the chest is also very closely connected, you might feel little rise in your chest as well, right? So is there any are there any doubts in the technique, in the way in which you have to perform the practice, and any other thing which is causing any kind of confusion?
No, it's okay. Thank you.
All right. So we will begin with our practical session then. So we are going to give the natural breathing some time first. Okay, we are just going to follow our breath. And then we are going to close that practice and step into the practice of abdominal breathing. If you want to sit, you can sit during your practice, both the practices. And if you feel like lying down, you can also choose to do that. Okay? If you're choosing to sit, make sure your back and neck remains straight and your body remains aligned. If you're planning to lie down on the mat, then place your hands away from your body. Palms should face upwards, right? And legs should be slightly apart. Feet should be falling out. And keep the entire spine straight. Don't tilt your neck to either side. Okay. So let's prepare ourselves. You can take a few moments to either lie down or sit comfortably. Once you come into your posture, you can gently close your eyes. And just simply shift your attention to your breathing process. Become aware of how you are breathing. Slowly shift the attention to your posture. Check how your body is. And if you feel the need, you can adjust your posture slightly so that you are more correctly aligned. Your body should be comfortable and relaxed. Try to keep your body stable throughout your practice. Gently come back to your breathing and just see the natural flow. How has your breath changed as you aligned your body in the posture? Check the state of your mind before you begin your practice. We're going to start with the process of natural breathing. After your next exhalation, begin to inhale, and as you do so, start following your breath. Feel the breath move in and above your nose and then enter the windpipe. Feel the breath as it passes from the backside of your throat and into your throat. And as your lungs expand, feel the breath fill into your system. As you begin to exhale, feel your chest relax and the air move out of the throat, the back of the mouth, and out through both your nostrils. Without holding the breath after inhalation or exhalation, directly go into the process the continuous flow of the breathing. Just follow the breath as it moves in and out of the system. Your mind completely absorbed with the touch of the breath as it enters your system and as it escapes your system. If your mind is running in other directions, very gently and lovingly bring it back to the breathing and make it follow the breath. And as you deepen your practice, begin to gain more control over both the inhalation and the exhalation. Keep both the processes equal. After your current round, go for 3 more breaths where you are following as the breath goes in and out. And then completely suspend your practice. Keeping your back and neck straight, simply observe the change in your breathing as you finish your practice. Keep your back and neck straight. We are going to begin with the practice of abdominal breathing. You can gently place one hand on your abdomen. Exhale all the air present in your system. And as you do so, contract your abdomen. As you begin to inhale, feel the abdomen rise and expand. As you exhale, go into the process of exhalation. Contract your abdomen properly. And allow all the air to escape your system. Again, go for the process of inhalation and continue this practice. If your mind wanders, very gently bring it back to the movement in your abdomen. Keep the inhalations and exhalations equal. Feel the sense of relaxation and calmness that this practice is inducing. After 3 more rounds, you can completely suspend your practice. Keeping your back and neck straight, simply observe the impact of your practice, still keeping the mind focused on the abdomen. Just check the state of your mind after both your practices. Prepare yourself for closing today's session. So keep your back and neck straight. Take one deep breath before we close our session. So inhale deeply and exhale deeply. Take a deep inhalation for chanting Om 1 time. Om. Shanti. 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 Feel the vibrations. Join your palms together and gently bow down. Now begin to rub both your palms together. Keep the palms on your eyes. Allow your eyes to absorb this heat. We will do this 2 more times. Rub the palms together. Place them on the eyes. Last time, rub the palms together properly. Place them on the eyes. When you feel ready, very slowly while blinking and looking at your palms, we will open up your eyes and come back with a big smile. Any doubts, any queries, any difficulty in your practice?
No, everything's okay. Thank you.
Great. So tomorrow we will continue learning the other practices. So take care and enjoy the rest of your classes. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care. See you tomorrow.